welcome. I've got a story.
Okay.
I got a story when I get your impression of this story.
Alrighty.
It's the story of Sally and Bob. I couldn't come up with better names, so forgive
Sally
me.
and Bob.
Sally and Bob.
Hey,
Sally and
we're
Bob.
in Texas. Sally and Bob.
If this is your name, please take no offense. I just grabbed some names out of my head. Sally and Bob's story is this. They're a great couple. They're a great couple. They have a very good friendship. Their commitment is solid. They have a trust. They're involved in the fellowship. They have 2 children,
Okay.
sometimes 3, but no, in that story, they got 2 children.
Okay.
But they're busy. They're busy. You know, he works, she works. They have to work
Outside of the home, aren't you?
One works at home, one works outside, but very, very busy. And of course, their lives are spent between, you know, picking up kids from school, getting them to school, getting them to practices. They're part of a church. They're going to
very
church.
busy.
They have some struggles, though. They have some struggles in their sex life. They have some struggles going on with finances, and they even have some issues kind of around in-laws and there's been some issues around jealousy as well.
Okay.
But they're busy. They're doing great. One of the challenges that Sally has is there's some stuff that's been really nagging her about her husband. But she doesn't want to discourage him. He's doing really good. She doesn't want to really go into that right now.
I could
But
see
she
that.
talks a lot about it. On his side, there's some things that is, you know, he doesn't think much about, but as he sees going on that he just doesn't like that she does.
Okay.
But they're doing great. But they're doing great and things are going
Otherwise,
well.
it's good.
But they're moving along well. They're moving along well. They just, you know, their daughter, you know, went to a graduation, you know, from preschool, and you know, and they get ready to enjoy the summer. Everything's going great. What's wrong with that picture?
You just said that she has some stuff, but she doesn't want to say it.
Well, now that she
He
doesn't
has
want
some
to,
stuff.
you know,
She said she didn't want to discourage him.
you don't want to discourage your husband.
He has some stuff that he's not talking about.
He's not sure what's happening. You know, something's going on.
And they're going,
But they're doing great
But how would they know?
because they are. They're doing great. Their friendship is good. There's no big issues coming up for them.
Yet. Because there's no way you could be doing all the stuff that they're doing.
But it's little things. It's not a big deal.
No, little foxes ruin the vineyard. You gotta deal with those little foxes. So when are they dealing with the little foxes before they become big foxes?
Little foxes becoming big foxes. What do you mean?
So I know with us, we can be very, very busy, running and running and running. And you'll do something or I'll do something that irritate you, and it's a little thing. But if I keep doing it over and over again, it then becomes a big irritation. So at some point, it would help me
Mm-hmm.
if you told me so that I can fix it.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the reasons I know that couple is doing good, but they're having the kind of situation where there's something that's brewing, and because their marriage doesn't have a place to have difficult conversations, things don't get addressed. And so those little small things, those little foxes that we like to talk about, you have that little fox happen a few times a week, 52 weeks in a year. You do that for about a year or two, 100 something times. Remember, it's more than once a week. You start doing that in the thousands, you've got a major emotional frustration or issue going on. And now it's going to be hard to deal with because you just won't like them.
It's sort of like when you do gardening. We out front, you have to weed, because when you weed, it's a shallow little weed, and I could pull it up right with my hand. But if I let it go, and some of the spots I missed, when I go to tug at it, it ain't coming up.
No.
It's just like and I gotta go. I gotta get something and dig around it. And
It took root.
It took root.
Deep roots.
It took
Absolutely.
quick. And so I think about what you're saying, how you gotta dig stuff up while it's easy, and you could just
Pull it up.
pull it up.
Pull up a thumb and forefinger.
A thumb and forefinger.
Yes.
And the whole root, you see the whole root come out. Because if you let it go down deep and it connects to a water source, it's gonna be stuck
It's gonna
in there, and
become
you're not gonna
the
be able to
tree.
pull
Absolutely.
it
And look, why are we talking about strange couples and roots and the like? Every marriage has gotta have, not has to have, but if you want it to be a marriage that's solid and strong, a place to have difficult conversations. One of the things that happens in our way of living today is that we don't have a place for difficult conversations.
Yeah.
We are naturally wired to be defensive when we hear any kind of correction
Oh,
or
yeah.
criticism.
Oh, yeah.
And so you have to have in your marriage carved out a place where if there is something to complain about, is there something to protest, or even it's just like a little, I don't feel the best, or maybe something's going on and maybe I'm wrong. But if that's in your marriage, in your schedule, you really do protect your marriage because it keeps those long roots coming up. A lot of our marriages are doing great, and you're doing great. But because you don't have that place, the only time you're going to deal with things is when they get really painful
or in the heat of the moment.
or in the heat of the moment.
I know it helps me to let things settle in the heat of the moment when I'm angry, because I know that planning time is coming, check-in time is coming, and I could think about and craft the conversation so that when I bring it up, it's not belligerent or angry or defensive.
Does your marriage have a place for difficult conversations, or are you just doing great? Check out our video on the 5 P's, this idea of having a moment in your marriage where you can definitely talk about some positives, but you get an opportunity to talk through some of the negatives, some of the challenges or the concerns. Every marriage has to have a place like that. Check it out. And until we see each other again, I'm Antoine.
And I'm Pam Lee.
And this has been great.
Find more of our videos on our YouTube channel, Mind Change. Let us know what you think. Add comments, ask questions, give suggestions for future topics. We'd love to hear from you.